Oh, let's see.
You're live.
Welcome to Community Cuts. We're live from Brooklyn, New York. Salon Leahing, 732 Washington Avenue, home of the professionals barbers, professional hairstylists, beauticians. Sandra's in the house. And yeah, we have them here. Welcome to another show of Community Cuts. We're going to be talking about UFOs. Kathryn Davis, come on through.
Well, I introduced the idea of UFOs. I don't believe necessarily that's what we're seeing, but that is what they want us to believe. So, the idea for our program today is as a result of all of these drone sightings, primarily over New Jersey, but it's actually happening across the country as well as in other countries. And what the sightings are, they're saying it's drones, and I believe that they are drones, but I believe there are also other kinds of back engineered craft and orbs. So things that they got from crash sites. So I think that that's probably makes for a rather complex mix. I'm just checking the audio. Yeah, it's a rather complex mix, and I think that we are being incited, in a manner of speaking. And I really believe that this is all part of the campaign of fear that is designed to push humanity over a psychological cliff. That's my sense of it. And one of the reasons I believe that is because obviously, if this were a real threat, the government would have shot it down.
Yep.
And the fact that they didn't shoot it down means that they know what it is and are most probably responsible for whatever this phenomena is. So we can only speculate what it's about. And so that's kind of my initial thought. What are your thoughts, Rickie?
I do have some extensive thoughts about drones, helicopters, flying projectiles. They were in the 70s, when there was all those aircrafts in the sky seen by pilots and Navy individuals. Everyone seemed to have one. They were expensive, they were ritzy, but we all seem to have one. And we fly them anywhere. We go out to the field and we fly them and put them all in practice of zooming and taking it in and making dips and dives. But today's drones are bigger, more adapted to making videos of what it is that they want to see. I've seen inside of New York City an individual who had a cell phone, and he was showing me where the police officer was trying to shoot down a drone. It just kept missing and missing to side. And all of the time, it was about an hour of shooting over and over. It brought fear into some of the people that were there. But I just said, well, that's what they're going to do all the time. That's a part of their position as a cop officer. Also, with drones, They, as a business, there is something that they used to put over a building. As an architecture and an individual in architecture, they put it over a building and they film everything inside of a building and everywhere. The company is called Existing Conditions, and they can tell existing what it is that this building is for, and what goes on in the building, where the walls are, and what's inside the walls. I mean, it comes out. I used it. I paid something like $1,500 to get a building photographed and taken care of by the drones. And he did specify it's going to cost, but it's going to be great. So I said, all right, sure. He took that issue and he gave me the plans. I do not believe the accuracy, the continuity of what it is that you were looking at. It was all so perfect, as if someone sat down and drew it. It is so perfect. These things are taking off.
Mhm.
They're not going to be ignored. Like the cops shooting. They're not going to be ignored.
Yeah, I also heard that local jurisdictions are not allowed to shoot down drones. It's
This is in
federally
Jersey.
regulated.
Yep.
And there was a bill up in Congress in which they were trying to change that so that local jurisdictions could regulate the drones. It didn't pass, so it will
Yeah.
probably be back in the next session of Congress. But the whole idea of this particular bill was not just to give local jurisdiction to the drones. It's a much broader bill, and it takes away a lot more of our privacy.
Privacy, yeah.
And so it's sort of after 9/11, they came out with the Patriot Act. And as a result of that, we lost a lot of what we knew to be our civil liberties, allegedly for safety. They claimed it would come back, but of course it never did. And I think that this new legislation was going to allow local jurisdictions to use drones to spy on citizens,
Yeah,
to look into their houses, to see what they're doing.
that's the truth.
So that's kind of the pair of the whole drone phenomena, is that I think that they thought people would be more concerned, might be fearful and panicky what's going on, and they can push this legislation through. It didn't happen, luckily, but it may still very well happen. But I think we need to comprehend the kind of nefarious behavior that's going on within the government structures. Now, I don't believe that these structures have anything to do with who's president, whether it's Republican or Democrats in control. There is a deeper faction in control of our government.
Mhm.
And I believe that this is part of it. So it was kind of a false flag, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I do agree with both of you, of course, yes. At the same time, I want to tell, our people that not to be worried.
No.
Not to be afraid, I'm not saying to you not to be concerned, but not to be worried. I think whatever is happening not only here in the United States, but it's happening throughout the world. It's happening in Europe as well, Brazil. And so this is something that has been well thought out.
I think it's a last ditch attempt to sink humanity psychologically and spiritually. In my opinion, I tend to look at things from the perspective of spirituality, but also of sovereignty. I believe that every human being is a sovereign being and has inalienable rights. that this country used to recognize, but doesn't much recognize any longer. So, but I don't believe that it will work because people don't seem overwhelmingly afraid. I think people, like you said, people are concerned, but I don't think people are overwhelmingly afraid. The thing about these particular events that make it worrisome, you'll have to text that person and say, not this hour. The thing that I think that was designed to really pique people's curiosity and perhaps fear is that these drones were accompanied by orbs.
Right.
And
Correct.
orbs are generally thought of to be spiritual entities coming and going from within our environment. But what's curious, if you were to go out to Nevada and look into the hills around Nevada, you see these same ships and you see these same orbs. And this has been going on for decades.
Yep.
So my sense is that many of the craft, which have been designated as alien craft, have been back engineered. And now our government has access to that technology and is making it visible. So there may be a number of reasons for that as well. One of the things I thought it might be is a show of force to Russia. So, for instance, Russia just came out with that new hypersonic bomb,
I saw that.
Oreshnikov or something, Oreshnik. And so nothing can stop this bomb. It goes up in space, travels through space, comes down with such force. The impact is so devastating that it destroys everything that it hits. And apparently Russia developed this bomb because they didn't want to use nuclear bombs. So they invented something that was as devastating as a nuclear bomb, but would not have nuclear fallout. So they wouldn't have to destroy the earth in order to win a war, which I'm at least grateful for that. But I'm wondering if maybe this show of drones and orbs and all of these sightings are the Western governments flexing, trying to warn the Soviets here, well, we have something up our sleeve as well.
There,
I thought that that might be a possibility as well.
there is an organization that is in control of each individual company, society, country that has to report to them they are going to fly a drone today before they let it lift off. We were in Borough Hall, in the area behind Borough Hall, getting ready to demonstrate a drone. We received a phone call. President Biden is landing at JFK. Everything shut down. Everything shut down. So we couldn't have that demonstration, and we had to leave.
Well, I guess that's why it's regulated, federally regulated.
Yes,
Drone flight. I don't know if that is true of sports drones.
Same thing.
I mean,
same thing.
it may be regulated, but they seem to get away with it.
Yeah.
You know, the smaller drones that are flying above fields and
They fly over stadiums
Mhm.
and interrupt the game, so they had to stop the game.
Yeah. So there are a lot of problems with it. And also when we look at the warfare that's taking place in the Ukraine, there's a lot of drone warfare where
Yeah.
these drones are carrying bombs and they can carry chemical weapons. So they can carry a lot of devastating weapons. So it makes sense that this should all be regulated.
Mhm.
And I think that's what we're looking at.
There's a gentleman in our Verbal Assassins Club.
Mhm.
He is right smack in the middle of Ukraine,
Mhm.
speaking on Zoom, and getting an eye out for what goes on outside. So we
Come along. Only your back will show. It's okay. I can't promise for you on the other side. Yeah.
so they have room to manipulate and operate
Mhm.
these citizens of Ukraine. But the drones, they had not considered the drones, and I hope they have more technology, the Ukrainians, in order to combat the drones, looking in on them, each individual. So
I think they have the technology. They're running out of people, though,
yeah. That's
which is a bigger problem. But I think the other part of looking at this is I believe that a lot of this technology that we're looking at really is back engineered from actual UFO technology
Yep.
or alien craft technology.
70s.
And when I saw the US government over the last year or so start doing disclosure, having hearings, and all of a sudden they're saying, yeah, well, actually, there are these unidentified, what do they call them now? IEDs? I don't even know what that stands for. But there really are, in fact, these craft have been seen over decades. And I think that that was in some preparation for what we're seeing now,
Yeah.
because my sense is that they wanted people to identify these drones as UFOs. Even though they were saying, oh, it's drones, oh, it's drones. You know how
Mhm.
people are. They're
Yeah, they'll
conspiratorial. They're going to say, oh, it's UFOs. But just to create that kind of mental chaos for us. But I think most of us human beings have reached a point of sophistication
Mhm.
where we understand we can't trust anything that the government tells us anyway. So anything they say and do is going to have another agenda, at least in my opinion. And so I don't think people are as inclined to be fearful as they might have been in the 50s or the 70s or even the 90s. At this point, I think we've seen so much shock and awe. We've seen so much nefarious behavior by governments all over the world that we're kind of done believing what we're being told to some degree.
So where are we
You're
going
right.
with
I don't
this,
think we should worry about it.
Where are we going with this? UFO sightings and the drone sightings and the mix up with the governments. I don't see a destination.
There isn't. The destination is chaos.
Yeah.
And I say that from a spiritual perspective. So, for instance, I recently found out that Kali Yuga, which is the Ayurvedic system of cycles, Kali Yuga being the most chaotic of the cycles, ends on January 15th, which means that energetically we're entering into a new cycle, and it's a cycle in which it'll be not so possible to deceive people, and people will be closer to their spiritual strength. They'll have more internal discernment because there won't be so many blocks to communication with our own soul.
Ah.
So I believe that a lot of the chaos we're seeing is about an attempt of the powers that were, I call them,
Mhm.
powers that be, they used to be, to maintain control through the new era that they would otherwise not be able to be in control. And I believe that a lot of what we've gone through is about that. Like around the time that COVID started, is around the time celestially that humanity was approaching the time of awakening. And so instead of being able to have that kind of spiritual awakening, we were steeped into the chaos of the COVID fiasco. And then we went immediately out of that into wars. And we went immediately out of that into genocide. And I just think that, like you say, Duke, we have to pull back from some of this chaos. Not that we can ignore it, but to not internalize it, so that we can connect to our own soul space, our spirits. Because when we're in connection to our soul is when we become truly sovereign beings.
Mm-hmm.
When we can integrate the divinity that we were created with. So I think I think it's a spiritual war, actually.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we do have to tap into ourselves to get, deeper understanding, deeper perspective that's here. And I don't want our people to be, have any kind of trepidation within. As I always say, just to tap into the God that's within you, and maybe, being silent and allowing the Most High God to speak within, because that's the only answers that we can get. We know that the flesh does have power,
Mm-hmm.
right? But we also know that grace also has power, and grace is something that's unmerited grace, unmerited power. And I'm always looking towards the deeper perspective that's within us. And as we tap in, we'll get the answers. I think now is a time that we're becoming, we're moving out of our slumber and understanding the universe as it is.
Yeah, and the question, though, what is it, is a big question. I don't think we actually know.
We don't know, but we know that there's answers that's within us. We're part of the universe. We're part of the portal system.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just have to be able to tap in, ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that the Most High God is not going to answer us.
Soul searching is always a good thesis for the individual. You're giving us a life, and you have to take care of it. And when you reach an obstacle, you have to understand soul searching will push you forward and make sure that you are safe. So I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, to the best of our ability.
Exactly.
I mean, not everybody in the world is safe. They're certainly not safe in Palestine. So I always have to question the reality, because the people in Palestine are some of the most devout people on the earth. They may not be Christian, but they are indeed some of the most devout people on earth. So why are they being chosen? Why are they being persecuted at this time? To me, is a very curious thing. And that we live in a country with a government that endorses that and sustains it and supplies it is something that certainly I'm concerned about. So I don't presume that I believe in grace, I believe in divine will, but I don't presume that I have the grace beyond, I'm more deserving than anyone else on this planet. I would think that the children of Gaza are more deserving than I am. So I question a lot of things, but it is what it is, and we can only do what we can do. And you're correct. I agree with you. We have to stand within our own strength and discern as best we can and support righteous behavior as much as we can in our lives and towards others. But beyond that, I think we can call upon a lot of help. Like I was thinking today about the Dogon people
Yeah.
of they say Mali, but it's really the whole Sahel, Mali, Burkina Faso. That whole region is where the Dogon were.
Hmm.
And, they were the ones who said that, they came from the stars.
Correct.
And they talked about the Nomo, which were actually aquatic beings. And so I'm thinking that all of us here, even though we are human, we have a legacy that takes us back to the stars. And as we become more aware of whom we are and what is part of us, what's in our DNA, and the connections we might have through that legacy back through the stars, that I would say I don't have any fear of so-called UFOs, extraterrestrials. I think there are good and bad ones, just like there are good and bad people.
Mhm.
But I think that we can connect through our legacy to ancient wisdom that may be of great assistance to us as we move into this new age. So I think Kali Yuga is considered like something like the Iron Age, which is the most dense. I'm not sure which comes next. It might be Silver Age or Bronze, I'm not sure.
Mhm.
But we are going into a period in which we're going to have more access to our capacities that we've been blocked from because of the age we're living in, because of the nefarious behavior of controllers. But I think that we actually have tremendous power. And just like the ancestors had the power to move mountains or to move stone, to build pyramids, I think that we're going to be accessing a lot of these abilities again. And it may very well be like, just like even in the Native American and the Aboriginal tribes, they used to go into a spiritual dance and make it rain.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And I think that we will learn to access new powers and we'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's my opinion.
And I concur with that. I do. And that to add on to what you're saying, that we do have to tap into this. We are spirit beings,
Hmm.
right? And like you said, we're part of the universe. It calls us stardust. So, we do have to tap in for answers, not outside of us, but within us. And sometimes we do have to be quiet to touch the soul and get the answer. We don't know everything, but we do know that there's things that's happening. And so once we're able to at least understand that as a premise, then we're able to take it to the next level, meaning to tap into our own self, to our own being, into the spirit that God is. He's not going to mislead us. I don't believe. I don't
Yeah,
see.
as long as we're tapping into the Most High. There
Yeah.
are many gods,
There
and
are many
some of them
gods.
will mislead us. But
Yeah.
the Most High,
Yeah.
I would say not.
Yeah.
And also, I think it's tapping into our oneness of being. We are connected in very deep ways that's not limited by the physical bodies that we live in. And you're right, you can't tap into that part of yourself cursing at the internet or being afraid over something that you saw on your television or being incited into hatred of another people. That's not going to be helpful going forward.
Correct. Well, let me just come back to this. I want to make one point. And so, in this particular paradigm that we are in right now, some people may not know this, but they're expecting the Anunnakis their return to this
I think
planet.
they're already here.
Okay.
I think anyone who's coming is here now.
Right. And I want to say this to couple that there is one God, which is the Most High God. That's, not talking about the Anunnakis or any other gods that they are, because they are gods. But the Most High God, that's what I'm talking about in terms of searching out and tapping into the God that's within us, the ones that are our creators.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I agree. The reason I say that there are many gods is because when I see people behave in the name of their God, that's not my God, whomever that being is.
Well, you're right, but it's also maybe they tapped into another spirit that went into them and not understanding
Yeah.
what's going on.
Happens all the time.
This is what I'm
Happens
getting
all the
at.
time.
Yeah,
You have to really give yourself the space to be discerning within and understand the nature of the energy that you're engaging with, because we do live in a spiritual existence. There are multiple dimensions of existence, as many as 12 in this creation.
mhm.
So, you know, I just think we have to be mindful that, we're not going to be hoodwinked by some guy taking you out in the jungle and forcing you to drink Kool-Aid. You know what I mean? We have to be discerning about who we choose to follow. I don't think we should be following anyone, but I'm just saying that to be discerning, and you can feel the energy. We know what love feels like.
Correct.
We know what love is. We may not know the ultimate of it, but we can recognize love and compassion and gentleness. And I think that that's what we have to look for when we're doing that inner searching, and not be caught up in um, taking anger into that inner search or fear into that inner search.
I agree, 100%.
So that we can have a more pure inner space to be able to do that searching.
Yeah.
So I guess we went along good. Does anyone else
We
want to
went
comment?
far off of drones.
Yes.
We can pass you a mic if you want to comment.
What are we commenting on yet?
On our subject.
You mean on the drones and stuff?
Mhm.
Well, actually, it's funny because I just saw something new that actually said.
Could you hand him that mic? Excuse me, would you hand him that?
Yeah, it says it was Fox News, so I don't know if I believe it. But it says,
Wait a sec, we want to hear you. Is it on?
Thanks. Right. Well, on the subject, I'll get on a subject first about the drones, and then it says here that supposedly that China warned U.S. that they're going to get hit by Russia soon. I just saw that on this YouTube channel. That is one thing. The drones, honestly, I mean, okay. So one thing that I do know is that in America or any place with a lot of money, they have a lot of security around the borders, right? So if a plane can't get through, you know what I'm saying, and that is not supposed to be there, you know what I mean, they're gonna get shot down before they even get there. Um, as far as certain missiles and stuff like that move faster than most um, missiles that protects uh, United States, yeah, stuff can slip through. We all understand that. But drones that I don't think can come from anywhere but United States, because for drones to fly to America from wherever they're coming from, that's a lot. You know what I mean? And then on top of that, you're talking about the controllers, and controllers, they don't span for a super amount of miles. You know what I mean? So it was definitely an inside job. You know
You
what I
see
mean?
the orb that was sent over by China that we had to shoot down twice?
See, that's another thing too. So it's like I didn't really hear about orbs, but China, when it comes to military and when it comes to long range missiles and stuff, they have the capacity to do that, right?
Yeah.
But seeing the drones that we saw, from the way it looked, it doesn't look like that would have came from, you know what I mean, from like China or Russia. That's too far for for stuff that small
Yeah.
to actually get there, unless they had a ship that they came from,
Yeah.
you know, being ported, you know what I mean, in the middle of the sea and then shooting out. That's different. But there was really no signs of that. So as far as the drones are concerned, I'm gonna just say that was more of an inside job. But I'm definitely gonna touch on, you know, when you guys are talking about the whole God situation, you know, and fake news and how we're probably a little bit more conscious on fake news. I think in this situation is everything has levels to it. Fake news is no longer he said, she said. It's all on the internet now. You know what I mean? And there's things that I thought was real, and somebody told me, no, Ru, that's not. And I was like, wow, I couldn't tell the difference. So
Fake death.
right.
Fake death.
Right. So, you know, manipulative social media can be very manipulative, but also so can things before social media. And I have to say, like the word God, you know, a lot of us say that word, but when we say that word, the only thing we're thinking about is man, right? When it takes two to make one. So the way I look at it is the word God should be changed. You know what I mean? As far as what it means for everyone, because it actually means for just one, not for both. That's the way I see it. And whenever we go to church or anything like that, we're always saying he, him. We're never saying she, and yet we never look within the things that we have a deeper meaning and understanding for. You know what I mean? And words are very powerful. So that just in that nutshell, I would have to say. I was just saying about that. Yeah, and that's that's yeah.
Cool, thanks.
Yeah.
Thank
No
you
problem.
so much.
All right.
Thank you.
Does anyone else want to speak? No? Okay.
No, you good?
All right. So I guess, no, that was great. Great comment.
Thank you.
And so I guess we're good for now. I would just say thank to those of you who have tuned in. And for those of you who appreciate what we're doing, please like, subscribe, and share our videos so that we can grow and expand this community. It's discussion. It's primarily about, Brooklyn, but this issue is impacting everyone. So I felt it certainly was something that we could discuss. So I guess we're good for now.
Yes, I just want to say to the family out there that's watching this or will watch us later on, to remind them to get out and support your neighborhood Black businesses that's in your own community, and allow our dollar to at least to flow through at least 10 times before it leaves the community, because we're in a particular time that we need to support each other. And I'm just asking for the community to be mindful to our community and invest in them by supporting our Black business in our communities. God bless you. We'll see you next week, and we're out of here. God bless you, family.
Mm-hmm. Thank
God
you
bless
all.
you.
And for those who celebrate holidays, we hope that they are wonderful.
Happy holidays. Very good.